Hey everybody, so my name is Precious and welcome to my channel. Let's talk with Precious. So today I'm going to be doing a YouTube tarot reading video on Foxy Brown and Spragga Benz. So let me tell y'all how I got this idea in my head to do a tarot reading video on Spragga Benz and Foxy Brown. So I've been watching the movie called Shadows, and my thing is like Fuse, they always keep playing the preview, but it's like they never play the movie. I don't know why they do it. It's like they just show it like randomly, but they'll never like air it. So I've had Amazon Prime for a while, and I was scrolling through, the different movies and stuff, and they had the movie. So I went ahead and, watched the movie because it's on Prime, it's a part of Prime, and it's really good. And one thing I want to say is that Spragga Benz was fine. And I mean fine back in this movie. I had a little crush on him and everything, even though this movie is like 20 this movie came out in 2002. Yeah, this movie is like 19 years old, and even though this movie is 19 years old, he was fine in that movie and everything. I'm like, he looked good in this movie and whatnot, but at the time he was dating Foxy Brown around this time. And so to those of you who know Foxy Brown, who know hip hop music, know that around this time Foxy Brown had her single that came out called "Or Yeah," and Spragga Benz was a feature on the song. "Or Yeah" was like a good mix of like Caribbean and hip hop music, and this song really did put Foxy Brown on the map for being one of the first rappers to be able to successfully mix Caribbean music with hip hop. And so she had Spragga Benz, on there, and then she had like the whole music video. I'm not sure if the music video was filmed in Jamaica or Trinidad or some Caribbean island. I know Foxy Brown's Trinidadian, Spragga Benz is Jamaican, but the only thing I know is that the video had a full-fledged Caribbean theme. It was real pretty. Foxy was pretty. Her and Spragga, they was real close and dancing and everything. So it was hot. But I always wonder, like, what happened to, their relationship, because Foxy Brown, in the prime of her career, she was tied to, you know, what was that group she was in? The Quad. So that had Nas in it. And then she was, mingled up with Corrupt. And then after that, it was Spragga Benz. And then after that, it's like, I'm not really sure who else she dated publicly or who else she was with publicly. But those are like the only two men, Spragga Benz and Corrupt, that I've known her to be public with. But I was just curious to find out like what happened, because when you read stories about Foxy Brown and Spragga Benz, they made it seem like it was a match made in heaven. They were actually engaged for a while, and it just seemed like the engagement was off. So I'm gonna look and see how their relationship started off in the beginning. So I read an article where Foxy Brown had said, they both met in Trinidad, which is where Foxy Brown's people are from. And one of her parents had a house there, and they decided to, and they was there together. And she said it was like love at first sight. And he was telling her, you're going to be my wife. And she was like, yeah, right. And, they started talking and dating, and eventually they, kind of hit it off. So let's see how this relationship first got started. Okay, spirit of the universe in itself, when it comes to the relationship of Foxy Brown and Spragga Benz, like how did the relationship first start? Like, what was their energy in their relationship when they first started going out? Spirit is saying that they had a lot of heart to heart conversations, that Spragga Benz was able to see around her, like hood street girl exterior. I'm Foxy, I'm Inga Marchand. You can't mess with me. I'm on the go. I'm Brooklyn's finest. He was able to kind of decipher through all of that. Like, I see you. Like, I know you're not as hard as you come off. You're not as, as tough or as, buff as you claim to be. I could see where, there's a pretty smart woman underneath that. So yeah, Spirit is saying that they really started like having those deep one-on-one conversations, were able to read each other's souls. I'm also seeing where it was as if someone from her past life or someone from her past was just coming back into her life, to rekindle whatever they had or whatever they didn't finish in the past life. But I do see where when they were in the relationship together, that there was a lot of signs that Spragga Benz just did not see. Because one of the reasons why Foxy Brown's career has fallen off so hard and really fallen off so bad is because of her attitude. Like Foxy Brown has been in and out of jail for a very long time. And I don't want to say she's been in jail recently. She has, it hasn't been made public or known. But Foxy Brown back in the early 2000s, sliding into the late 2000s, she was in and out of jail a lot for fighting people, biting people, getting into it with maids in hotels and breaking people's arms and fighting nail techs and running after rappers and stuff in the mall. Like Foxy had a lot of fire breathing, like kind of issues. And it's saying that Spragga Benz, he just couldn't deal with that. Now, Spragga Benz at the time, I want to say where, he was kind of, hood, I'm cool, I'm gully, I'm about my music, about having fun, let's party and whatnot. And this was before Spragga Benz even had a lot of kids. Now, Spragga Benz, from what I have seen, he had a son that was murdered that played him in, the movie Shot Us. He's like the bigger, chubbier kid that played the kid version of Spragga Ben's character in the movie. And he has a daughter, and I believe he has like two other sons, but I'm not sure exactly how many kids he has. But I know he has a village of kids. He has at least four or more kids. So this at the time, this was before he had a lot of those kids. And Foxy Brown, has a daughter, but Foxy Brown didn't have her daughter until like 2017, 2016, 2017ish or whatever. So she had her daughter a lot later than Spragga Benz had his kids. But yeah, Spragga Benz kind of saw, the red flags, like this girl, she's cool and whatnot. But she got a lot of like attitude, got a lot of fire in this, and just got a lot of inner issues and whatnot going on with her that's just kind of, alarming to me. But Foxy Brown, she went to jail for a lot of stuff, and a lot of it had to do with her attitude trying to fight people. Now I do see where he felt like he had to free himself from that. Because even though he loved Foxy Brown for who she was as a woman and for who she was as a person, he felt like there was no innocence with her. It was almost as if like they had their moment, they had their time, they had their energies intertwined and whatnot. Because I do get the soulmate card. Like they really are meant to be with each other. It's like their souls were just made and meant for one another. But it's like Spragga felt like he had to free himself from that. He had to free himself from a lot of the negativity, a lot of the hiding behind, oh, that's just her, or, she's cool, or, she got this, it's just, she's just dealing with a lot. It's like it got to a point where he just got really tired of having to like hide that all the time. So yeah, he pretty much felt like, what, I just gotta free myself from all of this ish that's going on between me and her, and I gotta go. And Spirit is saying that it made Foxy Brown feel really sad, and sad, and Spirit is even saying that she ended up in a deep depression about this too. And one of the things that kind of messed up Foxy Brown's career too, like a lot of other women in the industry, is men. Because a lot of females in hip hop, whether they were rappers or singers, a lot of their careers and whatnot got tainted because of bad relationships with men. So now I'm going to go a lot deeper into the reading to see what was going on with Foxy Brown at this time. Spirit of the universe, spirit of the universe. Sorry. Spirit of the universe, universe within itself. When it comes to Foxy Brown, what exactly was she going through in the early 2000s around this time that her and Spragga Benz were dating and in a relationship? I'm getting hopelessness, despair, loss of control, inability to change. But there was a lot of money and a lot of success that came to Foxy Brown. And it really like put her on her it really put her on a pedestal. And it really put her on on like a high pedestal around this time. So Foxy Brown's career really blew up in like the mid '90s, especially with Jay-Z. Then you had Nas in the mix, and you had Corrupt. So she was pretty much on a lot of stuff. She did songs, like "Touch Me, Tease Me" with Mace, and then she had that song called "Gotta Get You Home" with Blackstreet, and then she had the "Oh Yeah" with Spragga Band. So Foxy Brown, she had a lot of hits, and even one song she did, I think she did with Drew Hill, had made it into a movie. So it's like a lot of Foxy Brown's videos and songs actually made it into movies and different mainstream entities to really put her on the map. Plus, Foxy Brown and Little Kim, to be exact, they made it fashionable for hip hoppers to wear Gucci, Fendi, Louis Vuitton, and all that, especially for women. Because before the mid 90s with female rappers, you had a lot of like Pearl Black or Hood or like Street Sense, because MC Light was more the around the way, hood girl. Then you had people like Salt and Pepper, Queen Latifah, and some of the other rappers in between them that were more Afrocentric. So they didn't really sport a lot of the like Fendi, Gucci, Louis, and Prada stuff. But when, Foxy Brown Little Kim came out, it was all about sex appeal and fashion and the lore and just, the fantasy around being a female rapper, but also being a sex symbol too. And they were able to use fashion to really illustrate that. So around this time, and I have the Oshun card for Foxy Brown, like Foxy Brown really had it. She was feeling herself at the time. And I'm going to dim this light so you guys can see the cards a lot better. But yeah, Foxy Brown, she was really feeling herself and whatnot around this time. She was feeling confident. She was feeling spruced up. I made it. I got my money. I got my man. Everything is just falling into place for me. Foxy also felt really desirable around this time because she knew that she was reaching a turning point in her life and in her career, and people's eyes were still on her. Because the thing is, Foxy Brown, little do people know, when Foxy Brown first came out, she was around 14, 15 years old. So Foxy Brown was really young when she first came out as a female rapper. But you guys know that with Aaliyah and a lot of other female singers and rappers at the time, they were really young. But due to the way that they sang and danced and rapped and dressed, you would have thought they was at least, 19, 20, 21, and not 15 to 16 years old. Even Usher came in as a child star, and he didn't really get grown up until he was like 16, 17 years old and whatnot. And he was getting treated like a grown man, female wise, relationship wise and stuff, even though he was technically still a child. So you had a lot of kids or a lot of young people that came into the industry really young, but they were groomed to be adults because the talent that they had was geared really more towards adults as opposed to people their age. And plus, in the black community at the time, especially with hip hop and R&B, when you were 16, 15, 16 years old, you listened to hip hop, but when they had the cussing and all of that, you heard it in secret and stuff because your mama and your daddy would get you for listening to cussing music because you wasn't grown. So, they kind of made it cool to be, 16, 17 and to be grown, but they made sure that they kind of, dressed you up and put you out there as grown and not really reveal your age and try to turn, being a teenager into being grown when that's what they were really doing, but they didn't want to say it because of the times. Now, I also have this card. So Foxy Brown was on a defense more so about her career. She felt like she had to really fight for her career and what she really wanted because in the 90s, Foxy Brown had the she was this sexy, dark skinned, slender girl who had like the black purple lipstick that was like her signature lipstick. And, she had the natural black hair that was usually short or long. And, she always wore like the sexy, island like dresses or like the little crop tops or the tube top dresses, pencil skirts and whatnot. She made it cool to be, a simple girl, living in her, youth and whatnot. Now she was more so hip hop, somebody who was, real sexy, but they were still hip and whatnot at the time. But she also made it look classy because, she would come in like with the fedora hats and like the leopard skin, black top, black pants, kind of look, she jazzed it up really well. Even though she was a sex symbol, she still made it look classy. But, around the time in the 90s, she was more so hip hop, but in the 2000s, she kind of wanted to spin it around a little bit because Foxy Brown is Caribbean. And a lot of rappers, whether people know it or not, come from the islands or are Hispanic or come from mixed race ethnicities. And sometimes, people from the islands, when they come over to the United States, they kind of have to blend in or fit in, especially with the black community, because in this country, we're not like other countries where when you're here, if you have dark skin, black features, you're black. It doesn't matter if you're Jamaican, Trinidadian, Cuban, Dominican, whatever. If you have dark skin, kinky hair, you're black. But Fox, like she had to be herself. It's like, yeah, I'm black, but I'm Trinidadian, and I feel like I need to express that in my music. Now, even though she didn't go as far as she could have with that, it made her a lot of money. It made her a heck of a lot of money because when she did that, she went from being, this young China doll, because it was her moniker at the time, was being a China doll. She became, China doll, Il Nana and whatnot, but she eventually became Foxy, pretty much like a mature version of Inga, where she was able to hold her own, she was able to be desirable, but at the same time, she was able to defend herself. She was able to defend herself and to really come out on top. Now, one thing I will say is that Foxy at this time, she had a difficult point. She had a difficult time with changing. It seemed that change was something that's kind of hard for her to really maneuver in and to fix. It's like with the music, it was easy because she knew this stuff. This was something she grew up with, the sounds, the taste, the beat, the drive. And so these were things that she knew. But at the same time, it's like with this change, she felt like she had no control over it. And that's what I'm saying. It's like here she felt like she, even though she had more so of a say over her lyrics and how she rhymed and how she rapped, she felt like with her career, there was just a lot of closure there. There wasn't too much room for her to move, room for her to really be flexible or anything like that. But she also felt kind of hopeless because she just didn't know where to turn to or the kind of direction that her music career was going to go in. And plus, Foxy Brown, when it came to her music, she kind of dealt with a lot of people blocking her and not really letting her shine. And also with the people in her camp, she wasn't able to trust too many people. Because I do know that Foxy, I think one of her albums, Brooklyn's Finest, I think it got shelved for a while. And then she had to put out mixtapes. And I think a couple years later, I think 8 years or so after Brooklyn's Finest was made, it finally got released. And it's also saying she just felt like, once again, she had no freedom. And she just wasn't able to really be who she wanted to be around that time. Now, let's see. So I've already delved into Foxy Brown and how she felt around that time in her career, their relationship, but I'm also going to look into Spragga Benz. Now, Spragga Benz, I want to say, is a Jamaican DJ, and he is a singer. He has a career. Spragga Benz, I want to say back then, He was more so, like the sexy, DJ or making music, slick Rick and whatever. But now he's more spiritual because I do know he's a Rastafarian, which is very, important and a very intricate part of Jamaican culture is the Rastafarian religion. Now, Rastafarians, they believe in wearing dreads, they believe in eating clean and smoking weed, but they do believe in God, but they call God Jah. And they do believe, I know in some parts of the Bible, and they believe that Haile Selassie, who was an Ethiopian leader, is the reincarnation of Jesus because when you look at the description of Jesus in the Bible and look at him, they say he emulates the image of Jesus with his hair, his hands, and with his overall look. So he's pure Rastafarian. When you go on his IG page, it's Jah, it's Rastafarian life. He talks about common sense, common law and beliefs and how life in Jamaica is just so different than what it was a long time ago, and he just really focuses on life and like inner meaning and inner peace and whatnot. But he still makes music because he's still winning awards, and I think he just recently won an award for best artist. I think it wasn't best international. It wasn't best international artist, but it was the only thing I could say. He just got an accolade for previous work that he's done. So even though he's been out for a while and it's been a while since he's been like mainstream, like with Shadas and Foxy Brown and whatnot, he's still making moves. So let's look at him and see how he did at that time around the breakup of Foxy Brown. Okay. Spirit of the universe in itself, when it comes to Spragga Benz, please give us an accurate reading of how he felt around the time when he and Foxy Brown broke it off and became distant and disconnected. Spirit is saying that he felt strong. He felt strong and confident within his decision because he knew what was best for him to do. Spirit was saying that is saying that it was a hard decision for him to make because he knew that this was his soulmate and whatnot, but it was like, I gotta do what's best for me. Like, I can't be with somebody who's gonna take down my legacy and tarnish my name because everywhere they go, they want to fight everybody all the time. Then I'm also seeing where he didn't look back. Like, once he made this decision about leaving her and whatnot, it was it. It was final. I am seeing though that with this card, he didn't allow it to make him bitter, and he didn't allow it to make him withdrawn. He became more social. Like I said, he does have a lot of kids, so he became more social with more women, I suspect. But he did reminisce a lot. He did remember like the good times they had, like the love they had for each other and whatnot, and the plans that they had. Because the spirit is saying they wanted to have kids together, they wanted a family together, but Spirit is saying he realized he wasn't all who she said she was, and she wasn't all who he really thought she was as a person. It's like, even though he saw her heart, and even though he saw her for who she really was, it's like, I don't know this person anymore. It's like, you explain yourself as this, you explain yourself as that, and I see your heart, but you just refuse to be who you really are, and you just keep wanting to play games with me. I do see here that change really had to come. Like, there had to be a difference. There had to be, a shakeup and whatnot, and not something that was just so complacent. It benefited him a lot. It benefited him in his career and his energy, his peace of mind and whatnot. He was really able to breathe, and it brought him a lot of happiness as well. Spirit is saying it refined him and made him stronger because it takes a lot when you break up with your soulmate. Like, this is the person you're supposed to marry and that you're supposed to be with and that you're supposed to cherish. And so it's like, what's going on? Like, and that's how he felt. Now I'm going to look into where their relationship stands now. As of late, I have not seen anything recent about Foxy Brown or Spragga Benz. Spragga Benz is still social. It appears that he does have a lot of friends and a lot of connections within the hip hop community and within the dance hall, reggae, Caribbean music community. So he's out there. He's social still. But as far as Foxy Brown is more hidden away. Foxy Brown mainly is associated with Nicki Minaj because they're so close and they're good friends. But other than that, as far as men, you don't really see her or really hear her, talking to anybody or seeing with anybody. Spirit of the universe in itself, when it comes to Foxy Brown and Spragga Benz, how is their relationship at this moment in this current day? Ugh, I kind of shuffled too much. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna count back up again. Count back up again. But yeah, when it comes to Foxy Brown, it's like everybody has talked about her throughout the years. I used to be a fan of Foxy Brown. I even started like a fan page for her and everything until she blocked me. Because Foxy Brown, I want to say she is a bit immature sometimes. And she does get mad and really catty and whatnot for no reason. Because there's been other celebrities that have been blocked by her as well for simply liking Little Kim and liking her, and it's just childish to me because she blocked me because I'm like, you always show your face, but why don't you want to show your whole body? Because Foxy Brown over the years, she did gain a lot of weight and she did get a lot of press for looking sloppy and big and stuff on stage. And this was way before she had her daughter, so she couldn't even blame it on pregnancy or anything. And it's like, and then as time goes on, with the whole Remy Ma thing, she tried to do like a diss record to her, then a diss record to Lil Kim, and they all sounded so trashy and everything. And to me, Foxy Brown is a pretty woman, and she was a pretty woman back then, but it's just still being seen that her attitude is the reason why her career fell off so bad. Because I feel like if Foxy Brown would have just let herself be and she would have just blossomed into the woman that she was supposed to be and not have been so mean, she really could have had a solid career. Like even Lil Kim had went to jail and she stumbled a little bit with the Nicki Minaj stuff and doing the diss tape and whatnot. But she's risen from that. She's had a child. She gets awarded all the time for being an icon. She's still going on tour, doing concerts and whatnot. And I feel like if Foxy would do the same thing and leave all the bull mess and stuff behind, she could rebuild her legacy. But it's just that with Foxy Brown, there's just something going on in her brain. The spirit just said that she really has like a tarnished legacy. And it's like her career is just so unfinished because of all like the time she served in jail and how much time she lost trying to pay, society back for that. And then just really dealing with a lot of life lessons and whatnot. Because Spirit is saying she did have to deal with a lot of stuff alone and on her own, and she had to be to herself a lot. And it's saying that in those life lessons, it depressed her and it changed her because she had to come to a reconciliation with a lot of the stuff that she did and how it panned out in her life and what it did. Spirit of the universe in itself, when it comes to Foxy Brown and Spragga Benz, what is their relationship like as of today? Wow, it's funny how I'm getting a lot of the cards, but now they're turning up in reverse. Spirit is saying that they don't talk much. They don't. Spirit is saying that he's seeing it for what it is. It is what it is. Like you shown who you really are, and I know who I really am, so it is what it is. There's no more reminiscing. There's no more like memories and whatnot that are shared like there used to be. There's no strength and there's no power in really like rekindling the relationship. It's indicating that it's not really worth refining or working on. There's no security in having a relationship, ever again. I'm also getting where it's burdensome. Like the relationship, it just feels really heavy because it's like due to a lot of things that were just unfinished, it's like unpacking like all of the baggage and all the things that were said and done, in the past and whatnot. But I'm hearing that it's going to take an awakening. It's really going to take awakening and a light in a dark place. You know, how people feel like, oh, I don't know what's going on and I don't know what's next. And, things have just gotten so bad. It's saying that it's going to take a light bulb or it's going to take like a fluke of good luck and whatnot to really get the wheels turning as far as a relationship. But yeah, Spirit is saying there's just no like hope in this anymore. That's pretty much all I have on the Foxy Brown and Spragga Benz relationship reading. So I hope you all like my reading. Don't forget to like, leave a comment in the comment section. And I do have people from time to time that ask me if I do personal readings. Yes, I do. I do them mainly for my Facebook business page, but I understand that everybody doesn't have Facebook. So what I'll do is I'll post my Snapchat and I'll post my IG or my Instagram and I'll post my Facebook business page in the description box. So if you don't have Facebook, you can message me on IG, you can message me on Snapchat, and the type of payments that I take are Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and Chime. I just got Chime. I really love Chime because it's really good, especially with direct deposits. But yeah, I take Chime, I take Venmo, I take Cash App, I take PayPal, and those I'm only for. Apple Pay I don't take, and Google Pay I don't take. But I take all of those.